There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming out, we can be heroes everywhere we go. We can have all that we ever want. Singing like Ali, knocking out bodies, standing on top like a champion. Keep your silver, give me that gold. You'll remember when I say we can be heroes everywhere we go. Keeping us down is impossible. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable.
Good afternoon, everyone, and we welcome you back to the quarterfinals of the 2018 Backes Pro Gaming Series Spring Split. Once again, my name is Vulcan. With me is Atlas. Your shoutcasters entering our match 2 because of the fact that due to a lot of delays and inconveniences that we had, sorry to the viewers out there who has been actually waiting for the games of
and actually
Naga TV.
hung out with the 4 of us, the casters, of course, but the games will be uploaded sometime later in the official YouTube channel of Garena Philippines.
So for
youtube.com/PHGarena.
Yeah, for updates like that, make sure you check out our Facebook page, Garena Pro Gaming Series, PH. But as of now, we will proceed with our schedule for 5 p.m., which would be match 2 Imperium Pro Team versus RCX Rage Esports.
And it's going to be quite exciting because looking at BRE, a lot of people rank them really low in the first few weeks of the PGS Spring Split, but they've had a lot of improvements so far. Ardai coming in, also very, very good for the entire team, and it seems like they've become more cohesive over time.
And if you notice how BRE has grown over the group stages, yes, I agree with you. Ever since Ardai has came in, they started to win games. It's because of the fact that Shana and Ardai, they have been playing together during the Piltover's finest and also the promotions and relegations. But come in the group stages, they actually played in one of the ADCs where Shana was not very comfortable. But when it came to subbing in Ardai, which was one of their players who played the majority of their games, it showed their synergy. And not just that, I think Shana felt a bit more in the same page with Ardai.
Definitely, and so it's pretty much the bot lane focus here for BRE. As for IPT,
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, kind of a similar deal, but in a different way.
It's actually the fact that for Imperium Pro Team, as of now entering the quarterfinals, they will be switching up their roles.
Yeah.
It will be Hate in the jungle and Ivalis as their ADC.
Now, it's not really a problem that Hate's going to the jungle because that's pretty much his natural habitat. Coming into the PGS Spring Split, he wanted to play jungle but had to fill in for the AD carry role. But now that he's on the jungle role for this game, for this entire match actually, it's going to be quite interesting to see how he acts and how he plays this out on the jungle role.
So you guys might be asking, why right now? Why in the quarterfinals? This is a gamble that Imperium Pro Team will take. And let's see in game 1. Let's see how much of this dynamic, this change in roster can help Imperium Pro Team become a better team. But now, when we talk about BRE, they've been growing at a steady pace. But now at this point, this will be the semifinals at stake here. And for BRE, now facing against the bot lane, a new bot lane of Imperium Pro Team, Ivalis, playing as ADC.
Yeah, and this is really a test of the improvement that BRE has had over the group stage, whether it's enough to beat down IPT. And as for IPT, Ivalis has not played AD carry in the PGS, and he may have played it before in semi-pro, but here professionally, not yet. So it's a really big question mark here, as well as the dynamic between Shadow and Ivalis, because it's definitely going to be very different. Hate and Shadow, the dynamic is going to be different between Ivalis and Shadow. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll just have to see looking at how the lane goes. So it's going to be quite interesting, this game, and this entire match actually. This is best of 5. gunning for the semifinal spot. So it's going to be a big test for both of these teams.
And as for BRE, they're ready for that because they're actually going into their roster where they're most comfortable with. But as we said for Imperium Pro Team, this will be a challenge, a gamble, knowing that Hate, this is not actually an obstacle for Hate because he has played jungle before and he wanted to play jungle and he has been playing jungle as his primary role during his rank solo and ADC as his secondary. But when you're talking about Ivalice, a lot of questions, but know that these players, they're pro players. They can quickly adapt, they can try and fill in the gaps and listen to, let's say, the coaches there, the owners, like, we should do this, we should do that. They should be quickly to adapt.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the big achievements we've had in the PGS, in PH Esports, and how the infrastructure of these teams has gotten a lot better since it first started. And IPT, with their sister team, with the infrastructure that they're known for, I bet that Ivalice can actually bring out something good in this game. And as for BRE, they're no slouch either. I've always said that they have a pretty good roster and they're very underestimated, but now's your time to actually prove it in the quarterfinals.
They actually proved a lot already, making it this far and showing that because they were actually one of the teams that they won't make it to the playoffs, but here are they now at the spot for the quarterfinals. Maybe they make it to the semifinals. We'll see. This match 2 is very important for both teams here. Imperium Pro Team will test something which is very risky, whereas BRE will be continuing their progress with their growth at a steady pace. Now, the focus is onto the bot lane, but when you talk about top lane, it's still a given that for Suzaku and against Lando, both players equal.
Oh man, those are heavyweights.
They're actually on equal, let's say, pulls. They have different plays. They actually have the same play styles, actually. Split push lane, and you did see Lando in one of his games, he just straight went to the Nexus and ended the game.
That was definitely one of the star moments of BRE. That's how one of the times that I saw that their improvement is very real, and it's something to look up to. And looking at how they're getting it is against IPT, it's still going to be very difficult for them after these players that have had the experience and infrastructure for so long. It's still going to be quite a difficult task. However, as I said, this is really going to be the test of whether their improvement is enough to get them through the semifinals and perhaps into the finals of PGS.
You should always dream with all high, and it's all or nothing right now for our 2018 spring split of the PGS. And note that it's actually going to be interesting because of the fact that when you're talking about the new format in the PGS, what are the teams fighting for? It's that spot going to the GPL, the Garena Premier League, which would be the league where it will determine who will move on to MSI. So a lot of people on the chat has been wondering, so after this, will they go straight to MSI? No, they will be tackling the other Garena regions for C, which would be Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and fifth one would be Philippines, which Vietnam, they have their own competitive region right now.
That changes the dynamic so much, but that's getting way ahead of ourselves. But, you know, thinking about that right now, you're in the frying pan, and then you'll get out onto the fire in GPL. But here you have to get through this really tough ordeal first before you even get to that point. And that's
but at least they know what they're fighting for.
They know what they're fighting for. They're eyeing that with so much focus, and it's really culminating. And these are like the last few steps of that pyramid going into the next stage, which is like the Southeast Asian stage.
But for now, BRE, they have to face a Imperium Pro Team, which is one of the teams that have stayed in the PGS for quite a long time. Experience is there, veteran players. But for BRE, they have players. Let's say Yolanda used to be on TNC. They have a mix, which is actually X2XP. So BRE, in a way, they don't have new players. They have, let's say, players melding with new players, which is different when you're talking about a team that has had a solid roster and consistently playing that roster.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very exciting, very interesting to see how all of this plays out. And it's really quite interesting to see how it has all come in. Like, from week one, everything has changed so much on how our power rankings go. So looking at the standings, and rather the format rather, for everything.
So when you're talking about the 2018 PGS Spring Split, guys, this is the playoffs. Top 6 teams as of now made it from the group stages, and now we are at our quarterfinals. After this, we'll be moving on to the semifinals, and you can see right now, highest remaining seed. What does that mean?
It means that no matter the trees actually don't have the direction here. So if TME or Naga, whoever wins that, doesn't mean that they'll face TNC. It's whoever wins the both of these best of fives that we have today. The highest remaining seed in the standings that we've had in the group stage will decide who will fight TNC. As for the lower seed of that one, they will fight Mineski, which is either of these matches are going to be very difficult. But against Mineski, who was at the very top, that's going to be a tough order.
And that's why Mineski will be facing the lowest remaining seed. This is the benefit of being the first seed. And as for TNC, they will face against the highest remaining seed. So if you put it into examples, let's say TME and Naga, they're actually playing for their spot, and due to some difficulties, we will not see the outcome just yet.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Imperium Pro Team versus Varsity X-Rage Esports, let's say BRE wins. So BRE, which is actually the lowest remaining seed of all, they will be fighting against Mineski. But for Imperium Pro Team and Naga Esports, this is actually one of the good things about the new format. It's still always constant throughout. It will be competitive.
It's always going to be competitive. The balancing of the power levels of these teams means that they will have to fight at their peak performance every single time.
It's like let's say the teams right now, they have a good performance in the first week or right now in the quarterfinals. It's nice to know that just from winning that game, they don't have a direction just yet. They still have to wait for their opposing side, which this is the beauty of our new single elimination play format.
Yeah, definitely. It just has a lot of exciting permutations possible depending on who wins. And really, if you have any of your predictions, you just talk there in the chat, in the YouTube chat, the FB chat as well, or you can even tweet about it, hashtag BRE win or hashtag IPT win. It's definitely going to be quite an interesting match, I believe, and it's going to be very good to see the growth that these teams have had over the weeks that we've had in the PGS.
I'm more excited because for Imperial Pro Team, they're actually switching up their roster, the jungle and the ADC. That's already a treat for all of us here watching and following the PGS. And now, you may be wondering, how can Hate play jungle and how will Ivalis play ADC? Those questions will be answered in Game 1. But now for BRE, you did say that may grow sila in BRE in terms of in the group stages. It showed. That's why they're here. And we all thought, personally, we all believe that BRE, very rough start in the group stages, but come to the mid to last week, they've been constantly improving all throughout, getting also 2-1s and 2-0 sometimes, but that was enough for them to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, just being able to make it to the playoffs is a big confidence boost for these teams. The morale definitely is important. The mindset as well going into the playoffs, because you've gone past the group stage, and that's already a pretty big achievement. And now you have to test yourselves. It's just thinning the herd until the strongest teams remain all the way to the finals. And it's just such a grueling and fantastic competition that we've had in the Pro Gaming Series.
That's what you want when you're talking about the best teams in the Philippines in the pro scene right now. And only the best can really make it and represent our country, our region, in the GPL.
Yeah, every single time that a team gets eliminated from the quarters, from the semis, and the last man standing after the finals, it's definitely, all of it is training them, the teams being honed, the teams being molded into the best representative that the PH can have against all the other Southeast Asian teams.
And when you're talking about the best teams, leave it for this type of new format, increased competitive levels, and in a way, the teams cannot rest just yet. Normally, when you talk about the first seed in the old format, they can just relax all the way until the finals. But now, not anymore. They have to always be alert. They need to be ready to face up new competitions, new changes. But now we're seeing this new change on Imperium Pro Team's side. I'm very curious to see how Hate and Ivalis will perform their new roles.
Yeah, that's always so curious. Like, especially this late in the split. Seeing these roster swaps, or not even just roster swaps, these are this is a role swap that we're seeing here. It's going to be interesting to see how these pro players act in a different environment. For Hate, this is definitely his natural environment in the jungle. As for Ivalis, that's really the question here on whether he can perform enough for IPT to continue their good performance in this split.
In a way, for Ivols, he has to perform well because everything banks on him because of the fact that for Hate, this is not a stranger. This is not a really foreign environment for Hate. It's not a role that he's not used to. But now, I'm really worried for Ivols. He knows this. He realizes that the pressure is on him. And can he perform to the expectations that Imperium Pro Team needs in order to move on to the semifinals?
Yeah, because he's pretty much the only variable in this roster right now, him being on 80 carry, because you have a lot of data on the others. Like, you will know that Suzaku, Light, and Shadow will play consistently as they usually do. On Hate, you have a lot of data on how he can play on that jungle role. As for Ivolis, it's pretty much the variable in this equation that we've had. Will that variable be the one that makes IPT fall here, or will it actually be a big improvement?
When you're, let's see, will it be a big improvement? Because when you talked about BRE, putting in Ardai instead of Liar, it really changed it. It really changed everything. And now we're talking about for, let's say, Ivolis and Shadow. I heard that from my interview with Sir Rap, the owner of Imperium Pro Team. He did mention that the dynamic, the communication is different. So just from hearing that, it's exciting itself to know how these teams will perform.
And he didn't specify whether
that's the thrill. That's the suspense that you want. And we are now on our edge here. For now, let's get straight to our drafting phase of Imperium Pro Team versus Varsity X Rich Esports. This is our first game.
Oh man, look at that! Just the focus on XDXP, straight up. Three of the strongest junglers that we've seen so far: Sejuani and Skarner and Zac. And then obviously, since Jarvan wasn't banned, they will first pick it. They will prioritize it. As for BRE, it's a pretty good mix here. They're banning out Light, Suzaku, as well as Ivolis. As for BRE, they might be picking up the Scion for this one, and that is quite interesting in this
patch 8.4.
8.4, definitely.
We all know that the Banner of Command is kind of overpowered with the Baron buff, exalted by the Baron buff with the kind of minions. So expect that this Scion could go top, but it doesn't change the fact that when you're talking about the first pick to the Jarvan, it just goes to show for Imperium Pro Team. And this is a Jarvan that Hate will play, not Ivolis.
Yeah. It's going to be quite interesting to see how he acts in the usual habitat that he has. Varus goes to Ivolis here. Ardai will be picking up the Tristana. Olaf could be picked here by XDXP. And I will tell you that Olaf has been a pick in other regions outside of Southeast Asia and the Philippines. So we haven't seen it much or at all in the PGS for this split, but Olaf definitely picked a few times. I think second most picked across the regions here.
And now we'll see for BRE onto phase 2. Note that they have banned away the Camille and the Talia, so they do not want to face against those silent pressures from the Talia. And not just that, Camille. You saw from the games of TME versus Any how powerful that Camille can be.
Definitely a pain on how that Camille can go. It loses early against the Scion, but the Camille can just recover so quickly from that level 1, level 2 deficit that he has.
Oh, and we all know this Rise in patch 8.4. New mage items really benefit Rise and Anivia.
And seeing how Rise, being a more fast-paced mid laner, could...
That's very true. Very fast-paced.
Much more fast-paced than Anivia. As we've seen, but it is going to be a lock-in for IPT. They want the supports to be a little bit locked out here for Shanna, so they did lock away the Tahm Kench and the Alistar while locking in their own Braum. So they're just banning out these very strong picks across the meta against BRE here, and they're picking up power picks by their own as well. So looking at IPT's roster here, it's just strong all around for 8.4. As for BRE, because of the draft that IPT has played, being on blue side, they have a little bit more priority on how they get their picks. It's a little bit more spread out, but it's still very strong looking at this.
And when you're talking about, let's say, support picks here, it will be the Shen and the Braum. And note that for the Tahm Kench and Alistar, really, it's a common ban here. One of the most picked supports right now in the PGS. Also, the powerful picks that can be paired up with the Nazriel. So, And in this case with BRE, they will be sticking with the Tristana and the Shen. But now, I'm really curious. I want to see how Ivalice will play on this Varus, paired up with Shadow on this Braum.
Spotlight's really on the bot lane in this game, in this entire match right now. And this game 1 will dictate how every other game goes, because that's going to set the stage. In the very first game of this match, how is Ivalice faring? How is he comfortable on that AD carry role?
The pressure's on him. He realized this, and he will try and perform to his team's expectations. But for Heat, he's on a roll as a jungler. Maybe he can help alleviate the pressure that Ivalice is feeling right now. But for BRE, I think when you're talking about a matchup with Imperium Pro Team and Varsity X Rage Esports, you know that BRE, I think they're more nervous compared to Imperium Pro Team's new roster.
That's not going to stop them,
roll
however,
swap.
because they have drafted an Onslaught here. If they want to engage on you, they have the Unstoppable Onslaught, they have the Ragnarok, they have all these ways they can engage on you. And Ardai also has the comfort as well. He has a very solid front line, decent peel coming from Shanna, as well as the utility that the Orianna can bring out. So if Ardai is left unchecked here, it could be a problem, because that is going to be a very oppressive AD carry later in the game with so much frontline potential coming from the rest of the members.
Yeah, I mean, frontline pressure is there, but at least there's the Braum for the Unbreakable. But note that for Imperium Pro Team, they have that Jarvan, and we all know, run it down mid for the Sion and the Olaf.
Oh, man.
But one simple lockdown can really stop them in their tracks and provide a lot of peel for Ivalice.
It's going to be very important.
Not just him,
here.
actually, also for Light on his rise.
And it's actually going to be very important here. The damage later in the game will be very important. We'll have to look at how everyone else scales here, because of course you've got a hyper carry on the rise here, as well as the very fast sharp shooting Varus for this one.
And now we talked a lot about this, Atlas. I think it's better to see the execution on the Rift. This will be our first game of our match 2 of Imperium Pro Team on the blue side versus Varsity X Rage Esports on the red side. So now, this is the Rift here onto our best of 5 series of the quarterfinals. Who are you rooting for? I want to hear it all from you guys here. Show us your support. Hashtag IPT win or hashtag BRE win. Let us know there. But now, the expectations. We'll see the new changes to the roster. Can it really help Imperium Pro Team change their dynamic as a team when it comes to role swapping?
It's really going to be all about the first game, as I said. It sets the stage, it sets the mood for the rest of the best of 5, and it's their starting point. You know, it's the platform, the springboard from which other games are based on. Game 2 is basically just building on what happened in Game 1, and Game 3 is reacting to that. So it's just that starting point that's very crucial to these best of 5s. So we'll be seeing how all that fares out here. Just regular lines of scrimmage in a Game 1. Usually what you see, no one wants to risk anything too hard.
It's Game 1.
Yeah, definitely. But they just want to scout out what does the other team want to do.
And when you're talking about early game pressure, and I don't think both teams are, as you said, will risk for a level 1 invade, because at this point, they just need to do their usual things, do what they do best. And for Imperium Pro Team, they're actually gambling on this playoff stage with this role swap.
Definitely, just being able to have that flexibility. If this is actually a breakthrough for IPT, it could potentially be big, but it seems like IPT is actually being a little bit courageous here. Could get the red buff taken away from XP.
So I think for Imperium Pro Team, they won't go for the invade, but they will go for the invade for the 1v1 or for the early cheats, but they will go for the one in a way. Wait, what's this? Brush check here. That brush. 2 stacks there. One more stack for the stun. Does connect. Ardai's very low. But that will be the works there for Ivalice and Shadow. In the end, they get punished. Not respecting Dr. Stun and Jen.
That is a very big misplay there coming from IPT. It is the level 1. And even if you get the jump on Varus and Braum with the concussive blows and all, and the damage that Varus gets from his spells, is still not enough from the constant auto attack damage that Shana and Ardai can bring out on those champions. And that's such a huge punish. Losing out on the first wave and maybe more, that's huge.
That's really I would say a huge blow, because when you're talking about the pressure of Ivalice playing this ADC role, it's on him. And giving a first blood already this early could spell disaster if he does not shake things up early, but he will. But now we're seeing XDXP
Oh, he's angry.
wants his share of the steal. Maybe we'll get his red buff from Hate. Hate smites the blue buff, gets the heal, flashes away. Blast cones away to his safe zone.
This does leave the blue buff unharmed anymore for XDXP to just beat on. It seems like Hate might be sticking around, asking for help from his laners, but so far,
Okay.
seems like Suzaku will be
Orlando.
going for the response.
Oh, now he's gonna be chewed up in the corner. He won't go forward. Does get the silence. Cancels that kill for the knockup with 2 members up in the air. He's trying to get away. Suzaku very low.
Yeah.
And he's forced to flash away from that axe.
So far, 3-4 minutes into the game, BRE starting out very, very strong. And I love how XDXP immediately recovered from his red buff being stolen. He knows that after all of that, Hate must be a little bit low. And XDXP has a lot more sustain in the jungle than Jarvan. So he immediately goes to the blue buff, sees if Hate is there, and beats him up.
Beats him up, yes, at his own game. Because when you talked about for Hate, he went for the red buff on BRE's side. So he went straight to his own red buff. Not only that, like blue starts the XDXP, but XDXP went straight to his own blue buff.
Yeah, and how all of that, since that made Suzaku respond a little bit to the river, that put him so much at risk, because that means XDXP and Lando can corner him, and thankfully for Suzaku, he was playing a Cho'Gath, a little bit more tanky there.
Not just that, we're seeing a Psy on top. We all know that Psy can really push the lanes quickly. I mean, look at it clear. I mean, just E,
So much
Q,
AoE.
W, that's done. Because the fact that Lando had the top lane priority, he was able to immediately choke Suzaku from responding to Hate.
Seems like in this bot lane, Ivalice is still fighting strong in this bot side despite the early deficit, because the only thing that Ardai got from that first back was an extra boost. Could be very, very useful. However, it's not a lot in terms of actual combat stats.
At least he will be moving out from maybe the chase from Shadow and Ivalice, but seeing how, yes, they were forced to give that first blood. Not on their plan, but things can go really
Hate
bad.
might be planning something against.
Flash and Roots there, knocks into the air. That's more CC lockdown on to Jaime. He gets chunked there.
Yeah, definitely there. Jaime getting first blood in there because Hate, man.
Did you see that, Atlas?
Yeah, since Hate just waiting behind the wings there, he knows that Jaime does not have the flash at that point. So being able to catch him from behind means that that's a kill onto Light. And Light is one of those carry players on IPT. Being able to just get the lockdown and get the earlier scaling here might be a little bit scary for BRE, but it's still around 6 minutes. It's still very early in the game.
I mean, the new itemization path towards the patch 8.4 really helps this rise. I mean, going into the Archangel stuff growth build, it's really helping out because he's able to get the Catalyst and the Tier. But I think we may expect for Light, he has to still wait for his spike. And for Hate, he is eyeing this mid lane.
And look at that, Ivalice just constantly beating down on Ardai, not letting him have the upper hand in the lane despite the first blood. And the mindset for IPT, the training that they've had, even despite the role swap, is definitely showing here. It doesn't seem like the kill onto him slowed him down at all in this bot side.
It's really difficult for, let's say, Ardai and Shana on this Shen can do anything with a Braum, because you don't know, you don't want to go for a brawl against a Braum and a Varus. That will just end up bad. But what happened in the brush side, the early cheese did not work, because I think they had a misplay there. I think they weren't focused on one member.
And the fact is that Ardai and Shana, I believe, just have a lot more early damage depending on how that fight was played. And as you said, they didn't play out as perfectly as they should. But Hate and Light, wow, Hate is just going smooth with his jungling, even with the deficit that he incurred from being slowed down in time by XP. He's still going around applying pressure, and Light takes away the blue buff from BRE together with his jungler.
Ooh, triple the resources of BRE. That's the plan for Hate. But when you're talking about or looking at the CS, look at that for CX, DXP, and Hate. That's a 20 CS deficit when you're talking about the camps. So for the fact that Hate is trying his best to at least triple his resources, they don't want to give the blue buff to the Orianna.
There's a little bit of a mix-up there after XP stole there. So actually, it's better for IPT, the blue buff traded in the end. BRE does have a little bit of deeper vision onto the blue buff side.
Yeah, we can see pinks right now on the map. And who knows? We are seeing there is a control ward on the blue side of Imperium Pro Team. So for the timers, I think XP and his team knows this, but he can't respond. Yes, he just noticed that his blue, just checked his blue buff. That was a ping from IPT. And now, what's this?
Could be very useful here. But look at that,
Haze in the mountain.
He is on an
Drake.
Olaf, very sustainable jungler, so he can solo the Mountain Drake. The Mountain Drake isn't the most painful Drake that you can have in the game, and with Jaime and XP both wailing on it and Shauna coming to help out, they can definitely take this down very, very quickly, and XP won't lose even a little bit of health after finishing this. He just recovered it back up. And look at that. I love how BRE just seamless in how they go about their way. After taking an objective, immediately Shauna goes over the wall, goes for deep vision. After that, XP got some vision. Oh,
But since Shauna's not there, this gives Imperial Pro to go all in on. Ooh, the rare die. That's going to be the stat 99 for the assist there. There's the shield, and now that's going to be extra speed. Diving in with a Ragnarok Shadow. Trades him up for a 1-for-1 trade.
A little bit greedy there by Ardai. I think the XP and Shauna had it right there. But the fearlessness coming from there and the just-in-time ultimate coming from Shauna to save the last moments, extending Ardai's life a little bit more. Definitely helped him there. Unstoppable onslaught.
Gets the slow and the damage. Light trying to help himself out here with Hate. Responding to Lando's engage. Jaime and Lando, they won't commit too much because you can see Jaime, he did not get his blue buff, so he cannot continue the fight.
Not a lot of mana right there. Even with a mana flow band, it's not going to help that much in the actual fight.
And
But,
that's difficult because Jaime has yet to get the Lost Chapter, so it's really a matter of sustaining for the... Okay, we got it now.
Yeah,
with
plus the tier. So it's going to help him a lot more.
That's going to help him already. That's going to solve his mana problems.
However, that isn't a lot of combat stats, but it is not as well on Light's side. He does get a little bit of damage from the mana he gets as a rise, but it's definitely waiting up for the scaling. As for Jaime, he's still waiting to get a lot more utility around for the game. As for BRE, I have to commend at how they've been moving around the map. I told earlier how it was seamless. Dragon, red buff, enemy red buff ward, and that transitions from the blue buff ward on the other side of the map there by XP with a vision ward onto the blue buff of Hate. So they're just focusing a lot on getting information, and that could help him a lot. But IPT's fighting back hard because Light can get so aggressive if Hate ganks him more.
I mean, Hate has been ganking Light a lot in a way that he is there to respond. Let's say counter ganks. But now for BRE, I gotta agree with you. Their movement around the map is on the point. I mean, so smooth. The fact that they got the Mountain Drake and knowing that Hate was there taking away his own blue buff, this was the go signal. Again, Ardai trying to back off. Oh, he does get the last stack.
That's
a shame.
The concussive blows definitely killed him right there, even with the information that BRE got earlier. It seems like if IPT wants to get you in the bot side, if you leave yourself vulnerable in terms of execution against engage that IPT can have in a 2v2 or even 2v1 in the bot side, you will get taken down, and that's a kill that Ivalice really appreciates. He just pulled the trigger instantly.
And now I think this is what we were waiting for, the dynamic in the bot lane. I can see that Shadow and Ivalice, the way they play, completely different when Hate and Shadow play. In a way, it's more aggressive, really bloodthirsty.
Right there, and Seems like it will be just a little bit of trade-off, but Hate coming for this top side.
Lando flashes away in the time. There's the lockdown from the Cataclysm, knocks him off. 2 members there, but in return, Lando can't escape. He's slowed down. He's trying to back off. He has his ultimate ready. It's a bit too late, and he used it too late. That would be a free kill for Hate.
They were, I think Lando was really waiting
So it
for
won't be
IPT,
blocked.
yeah, because so it wouldn't be blocked. But by then, it was already too late. Too much damage already. And look at that, IPT not being a slouch here, showing BRE
but for
that they will
BRE,
not back down.
They will not let them have their own way. They took down. They took down the red buff for themselves. They will not give it to Hate for the second time.
Man, that is definitely good there by BRE.
Oh, that's a lot of damage. You can see the fact that there's a pattern here. They're setting out with a Q and Wither's Bite and then follow it up with his W. So, Shanna, I think she has to be the one to stay in lane and protect Ardai.
Definitely, and that's actually quite difficult when, as a Shen, you're also obligated to help other lanes when they're in deep trouble. So that means leaving Ardai, but can be very useful. He's not as tanky right now as Shadow, since she did go for the Ionian boots just to get that ultimate cooldown more than just the general CDR as for the rest of the summer spells as well.
I mean, he wants to have the uptime on that flash and ignite. Also, the 10% cooldown is a bonus for his Stand United. At early levels, it's a hefty cooldown. So, at this point, BRE, they're trying to delay the game. But for Imperium Pro Team, I just love how, when it comes to the jungle side, we are seeing a lot of action, Atlas.
Definitely. XDXP always gunning for advantages, and Hate as well. He's no slouch from the half of the CS that XDXP has. He's actually catching up a lot, clearing very, very quickly, and he hasn't had any big ganks aside from the one on Suzaku and Light, but he's been pretty successful in those attempts and puts his laners in a favorable position.
We're seeing a lot of pattern in the top lane where it's a matter of whoever rushes the banner of command first will try and outpush each other. But when you're looking at a Sion, you're not going to outpush a Sion with his E and his Q.
Definitely not. There's just so much wave clear. But definitely Suzaku is fighting back as well. He has a lot of sustain. He can fight back against Lando, push on his own wave if he wants, and it just sustain the mana spent and then the health loss back up in the process of clearing.
So now things are kind of mellowing down, Atlas. We are approaching the 50-minute mark soon. But exciting to know that the Mountain Drake will be live in 12 seconds, everyone. So can we expect the same thing we saw from XDXP, where it was seamless for the Olaf to take down that Mountain Drake solo? Or will Imperium Pro Team notice this pattern and try and intercept them?
There's actually the big fight might happen near the Dragon Pit, but you also have to pay attention to Lando.
But the bigger fight here, Atlas, I think it's when the top lane. Protect my banner of command. No, my banner of command is better. No. Looks like the banner of command 4. Suzuka will be winning this fight. Pushing out the lanes, but that bought him enough time for XXP to go into the top lane, whack him down, and destroy his empowered minion.
The longest stalemate right there ended by the arrival of a little bit of help.
Yeah. I love this new meta, Atlas. I mean, the banner of command,
weird.
And we see like it's more of a matcher. It's like I would send out my own banner of command to fight against your own.
Oh, but that activates my own banner of command. But definitely in the end there, because of how long it took for them to fight, XP was the one able to pull the trigger. And yeah.
In the end, because XXP was there on the red side, and as you said, in the long run, it was a very long stalemate for the top lane.
It seems like the Mountain Drake is not yet the target. IPT is making some moves on it. They know that Lando doesn't have his teleport just yet. They're actually doing it right now. And without the teleport, they are under vision, but without the teleport, Lando cannot really try and attempt to go against this.
They will just give it away because XDXP, he was spotted in the top side, helping out Lando. So in the end, this equals out the Mountain Drake. 1 for each team.
Still gonna be very scary though, because imagine later in the game, might be a little bit of story here.
Which gets the knock-up. No, Ragnarok has been popped. They're going for that die. Will it happen though? Realm Orb is here. Light to the rescue, but Lando sees Light will back off. Same with Jaime for that response to deny that gank. But look at this hate on the blue side of BRE. There is that control ward. This is black. Pitch black for BRE. They have no vision there.
They do not want to get near this. This is actually
Stan United Atlas.
perfect. Yeah, could be perfect.
Drain the corruptions there, and I don't think that shield will help him out. So
Definitely not. That came way too fast for BRE. With hate right around the corner, that means not even the shield from Stan United helps him out. And really, just the balance of attention. Ooh.
my God, you see that damage. And you see the shockwave, and you saw that outplay with a flash out. Light will just trade out with summoners.
Just flashing out at the last millisecond of that shockwave animation definitely helps him out. As for the rest of IPT, it seems like they've infiltrated the right side jungle here of BRE.
See what Light's doing right now?
Yeah, he's just constantly pushing in and
God.
pressuring. And this opens up the rest of IPT to go for a 4-man on this mid lane turret. They're just going around the map. If VRE was seamless, this one is absolutely beautiful here coming from IPT.
Yeah, are you seeing this different IPT right now in the quarterfinals? Very different play styles in a way that changed everything we saw in IPT during the group stages. This is a treat for all of us here, Atlas.
Definitely, and just how more proactive they look right now. And how IPT went straight from bot lane to mid lane. This does put them a little bit ahead in terms of the gold, and it did go to important members there, Ivalice as well as Light. Taking away those gold from that turret means that it's going to be much faster in terms of scaling, and they would really appreciate that.
When you're talking about scaling, let's look at the mid lane here. Item-wise, we are now seeing the Rod of the Ages completing on its 8th stack for Light, but he is building towards the stack things up for the Archangel Staff, so it's more on whoever stacks it up first. But seeing how for Jaime, he did prioritize the Seraph's Embrace instead of, let's say, the Ludus Echo that we sometimes see on Oriana's to push out the waves.
There's really a lot about the mana item here because it gives you so much stats. So much utility as well once you get it fully stacked. And here IPT goes to the top side and BRE as well for their bot lane. So the lane swap happening right here, and the focus is always on those objectives, the pressure and control over the territories of the map.
And now we are approaching our 20-minute mark. The Baron will be live in
XXP
44 seconds, but look at that Predator is on him. Ragnarok is there. Glacial Fissure will try and stop Ardine. There's the Unbreakable. Shield is out. The Mine. Will it pop Ivalice? Yes, it does. Cataclysm is there to lock down 3 members. Now Hate, Shadow, and Light will now clean up this fight. Red Bang cannot do much there.
Right there, XP is running away.
Trying
Light
to-
as well, trying to pursue them with his own snare. XP might fall down here. It seems like the rest of IPT still pursuing everyone else. Shadow has to burn his own stopwatch. This will be technically a 1v2 here with
Shadow's
Hate.
alive. Jaime
will
is
actually
there.
go in.
He flashes out from the flag. Light, in the end, takes Jaime down.
Man, that is pretty much a failed dive there by BRE. They got what they wanted. They take down Ivalice, but with the follow-up from IPT to help the rest of their team, they get 3 kills from that, and they just put themselves way ahead. It seemed very good for BRE, because who doesn't like seeing a Ragnarok Olaf just running it down, ignoring any sort of protection they can give to the AD carry, and that was very close. If IPT had reacted slower, BRE could have gotten out of that without being caught.
And for BRE, they overcommitted, and that fight did not really respect the response from Light's Rise. But note that for Jaime, he tried his best to try and finish him off, but in the end was a bit short on his damage.
Definitely, and that was actually huge. Getting 3 kills across the board here for IPT means that they have a lot more freedom with how they spend their gold here. It's going to accelerate their power spikes, and that's something that Light will always appreciate.
And we are seeing right now Shanna going towards the top lane side. I think we are now experiencing a pattern for Imperium Pro Team in a way that they took down the outer turrets, and BRE has none. They're eyeing this top lane. They know that the Baron is live right now. Atlas, we can expect maybe a dive.
And that's going to be very big. The Baron might not
it's
be a
gonna be
realistic
big,
goal, But this dive can potentially put IPT so far ahead in terms of controlling it in the future. Just setting up the foundations of better vision control around the Baron pit, around the top side of the map could be potentially very important right now. Because, as you said, with a OP Banner of Command, that Baron, the Baron of Command combo might be actually change how much they focus on this top side. It's still going to be a very important objective nonetheless, this top side half of the map.
And as the more Baron buffs you get, the more powerful it becomes. That's a new mechanic for the Baron buff, and it really benefits that Baron of Command combo that we know that the top laners do get to really push out the lanes here. But as of now, I think for Imperium Pro Team, they will get this Cloud Cave.
Seems like they can't really break through BRE on the top side just yet. They can take this objective and then transition elsewhere.
I wonder what we should expect from Imperium Pro Team in BRE, because kill score wise is 8-4. Goal lead is just 3,000, so not that huge just yet. But still, Imperium Pro Team, they're on this top lane. They want to take it down.
They really do, and putting a lot of gold here onto the necessary people on their team means that they, as I said, can get to their power spikes, and that's really where they want to go. They have so much potential to engage. They have a very good front line as well. Light, always so aggressive, in just a split second can deal half of the health bar here of Jaime.
He gets away in the nick of time, but when you're talking about Light's damage, it's there, but his damage is just great for the wave clear on this rise. So Jaime has to match that, which is difficult because he has yet to have that security. He does pop the shield, gets the shockwave onto Hate, but will not be enough. And we see Light still continuously pushing out that wave.
Yeah, always going for pressure. Always trying to take resources away from BRE. That's how Hate and Light are playing this mid lane. And same with Ivalice. When Hate was helping out Ivalice and Shadow in the bot side, it was always towards this goal, not just to snowball or get their team ahead, but
who will get the last? Oh, and that's gonna hurt like a truck. Suzuki gets down to the air. Same with Hate, but Light's on the side, dealing damage here. 4 members of BRE going into the blue side of their territory. Now that's going to be Suzuki flashing in, eating up Shanna, and now he's left alone. That would be a trade.
That is going to be a trade indeed, 1 for 2. However, you have to pay attention as well. Ivalice got the turret that he was looking for on the top side, boosting his goal even more and controlling the map even more for IPT. That was very gutsy from IPT there.
But in the end, it was a 1-for-1 trade, but for BRE, they did take something out of that fight. In the end, we saw Suzuki, he burned his flash to devour Shanna to nearly remove her from the fight. So when you're talking about Imperium Pro Team, it's still on their side.
Definitely, they are controlling. And as I've said, it's because they have a lot more ways to control the potential they have in these lanes, the mid control, the mid priority, just constantly Light using his spells to clear each wave. The same goes here actually with Ivalice being able to just clear those waves. He has a lot of attack speed, a lot of AoE damage as well. So having so much of that means that it can pressure these lanes. And even though, as you said, Sion clears waves better than Cho'Gath, at this point,
it's relatively equal.
Yeah, it's relatively equal, especially with a Banner of Command.
When at early levels, yes, Cho'Gath does have a difficulty, clearing out the waves compared to a Sion. But now it doesn't matter because they're rotating towards the bot lane, and equally for them, they don't need to face off against each other. They just need to send out their minion waves.
Teleport is up for both of our top laners down in a bot lane. It seems all of our players here are trying to set up vision and control around the side of the Baron.
But now for XDXP, he does have the Ragnarok and the Predator ready. For now, his boots are cooled down. We are seeing some vision being established by Imperium Pro Team. On the Baron, they have a control ward. Now we are seeing BRE just testing things out. Are they really going for the Baron?
Because look at the control. Look at how many wards that IPT has placed around the area. Look at how much pressure Light is pushing onto this top side. They will actually start it. XDXP has an idea of what's happening, especially with Light. Yeah, Light defending the backside of this Baron.
They did not take down the war, so that'll be a free teleport coming in. Here comes the shockwave, only onto one member, but Lando goes in deep inside that pit.
Oh, Light.
Light on the other side here, trying to deal so much damage, but can't do enough. Hey goes in, locks him down. They join in the fight, they join into the dive, but now that really bottlenecks Suzuki, but he doesn't care, because you saw Ivalice dealing so much damage.
You can't really outsmite a Cho'Gath and a jungler with smite up. Definitely that is not a 50-50. That's just completely in favor of IPT. BRE tries stopping it. They take one member because Light was really positioning himself to try and take out the backside of BRE's team. However, he does get taken out, and the problem with IPT in that fight is even though that Shadow and Hate could jump over, the rest of the team really can't. So they were just at the mercy of the AD carry right there. Ooh.
Let's go for Shana, trying to back off still. Know that the members of Imperium Pro Team, they have the Baron buff. I gotta say, what happened there in the pit was great for Imperium Pro Team because Ivalice, despite there was this wall in the pit, he was still able to deal so much damage with
but not
his
really to the ideal targets possible.
Better than nothing in a way.
Yeah, it's better than nothing, and they do get the 1-for-1 trade. They got what they were looking for, the Baron.
And now we're seeing
Oh,
the
man.
minion. This is
Plus Demolish here coming from Suzaku.
okay. That will be Lando going in with a shockwave. Ooh, that's gonna be double CC onto Hate. He does make it out with a flag drag combo. Telpa comes in here. Light is on the scene right now. BRE trying to stop the incoming wave. They know this because you see that
Look at Hate's
minion.
regen.
Oh my god, he will just regenerate there. Lando getting so much damage. XDXP can't go in. He's too scared of Light because that would be suicide.
And look at that. Look at Hate. Because of his build, even if he was chunked down to so little health, he just gets out of combat and regens it just in time to be ready for this siege in the mid lane.
Go Cannon Minion, go!
Definitely, this Cannon Minion is still trying to demolish these
Oh my
inhibitors.
God.
Look at how damage
Boom!
he's doing right now. And IPT, just the siege team, demolishing, running it down mid before BRE. And here, look at that, transitions perfectly.
But leaves behind Hate here.
Well, not perfectly.
Okay,
Got
Hate
left behind.
left behind. He does have the mobility, but
dear.
he gets the kill. No, that's the stasis. He survives for now. Now
He's still cornered.
he gets the smite on the blue, but he gets the heal. But now we see Suzaku zoning out the members, and that's why you save your minion, the materializer, in the end game to just quickly deny those Baron-powered
with that
cannon minions.
new dynamic with a Banner of Command and the Baron buff, like what Neat did earlier in the game. He did it twice, which actually saved them 2 inhibitors. And that's actually big because there's just so little way. If your team has good formation, there's really no chance that the opposing team can try and destroy your bannered up cannon minion without a minion dematerializer.
So now 30 minutes going into this game. The next rig is the Elder. And we see Imperium Pro Team. You can see right now Mountain, Drake, the Ocean, and the Cloud. 3 stacks, Atlas. And we all know that not just the Baron buff that got changed, but it was also the Elder Drake buff that has been buffed.
And it's going to be very scary each time that it spawns. And I'm just really liking how IPT is playing it right now. BRE, it seems like they were playing very well early, but they are running out of steam in terms of how they're playing around it because IPT has rotated around the map trying to choke BRE out. It seems like BRE is out of wind in their lungs to try and their stamina is running out.
This is what I love about the new patch, Atlas. I mean, it's more of gambling in a way that they need to go and take this Baron. They took the first one, yes. Now BRE, if they give the second one, that is just going to be a nightmare for them because they have yet to secure their own Baron buff, and this will be Imperium Pro Team's second Baron buff. And now they're eyeing and demolishing this top lane inner turret.
Yeah, and Suzaku just chomps up that turret with his runes right there. And even though Lando got that successful push onto that bot side, it's not fast enough. Even though he is like a very good split pusher, very good tank, against the turret itself, even with Demolish, it's not going to be as good as what IPT is pulling out here with multiple members.
But this is still anyone's game in a way that for BRE's comp, they have Ardai on this Tristana. They have the protection, the Stand United, but for Imperium Pro Team, they have a lead. They need to secure this game as soon as they can. Otherwise, for BRE, they will have more chances more and more chances to
Yeah.
bounce back.
And the burden of damage on BRE is not just on Ardai. It's on XDXP as well to go onto Ivalice, to go onto Light. But it's such a big problem. If your only two big damage threats are your jungler, who gets less gold than the laners, and the AD carry, who needs to scale into very late game, you're going to have a much harder time taking down the right targets. Because look at this. Light has the Roa, he has the stopwatch still, and he still has a stopwatch, and he still has the Archangel Staff as well. So if you go on him as XDXP and try to finish him off as Ardai, then you're going to take a long time. That leaves Ivalice with so much room as well, but he has the Ninja Tabi, he has the Vamp Scepter, he has the Wisp End to really deny a lot of the damage. So it's just the physical side that's getting to him, but even then it's mitigated.
I want to see all those damage out in the fight, Atlas. I mean, dish it all out. This is going to be chaos. But looking at the itemization for the mid lane, yes, I agree with you there. But looking at the ADCs, Ivalice getting up his 4th item, just not there yet. He may go for the board, but for Ardai, look at that.
He's going full damage.
That's all you need
Yeah.
on a Tristana, to be fair. I mean, Ravage Fire Kind, Static Ship, and Infinity Edge, enough damage. You get the resets quickly as you can, and sweep up the field. But now for Imperial Pro Team, okay.
Ooh, they'll meet each other here.
Ooh, that would be the saving trick, and Shanna does dash away, but the
Just
red
in
buff,
time. That does deny them a
Ooh,
huge
still
fight
managed
there.
to get it.
Yeah, they do get it. This is actually an important part of the map here. 30 seconds until Baron spawns
And that's very
once
important.
again. And that is vital for both of these teams. They cannot afford to let that be taken away from them. BRE wants this. IPT also is hungry for this Baron buff because it will help them finish out the game much faster. While BRE, if they get the Baron buff, it'll let them hold off and just delay the game so that Ardai can get stronger.
And for the second Baron buff, if it goes to Imperial Pro Team, it'll be stronger than the first one. So for BRE, they have to watch out. They can't just give it away for free. But
They're
yeah,
starting it.
they may just give it for free. Look at XDXP just going
Oh man.
on to Light. Now he's slowing down. He does flash away. Suzuku with the Righteous Glory will zone him out. But now leaving behind
Lando.
Lando gets locked down by that Cataclysm. We are seeing Shanna trying to help his team in a caught between the rock place, but Light,
Oh, man.
he's going on to XDXP, destroy, kill that jungler. It will be a 50-50, but that's not important. The important one here is that Imperial Pro Team, they're just choking BRE on that Tri-Brush.
Oh man, that
And
is a lot
Ralmar
of damage.
for the close in, that will be, Arde just managed to jump away over that wall, but now Jaime left alone. He has to survive. He has to recall.
Will
Please
they
don't check
find
me.
him?
Please don't notice me. Flashes
They will
away.
find him, but they have better things to do. Without the shockwave, the threat of the steal, and killing all of them is actually very small. Look at this Light. Knows what he wants to do, goes for the inhibitor. He can actually take it down pretty quickly. He can try and fight against Lando. But Lando is actually really tanky.
I mean, he has the W for the
He
shield.
also has Ardai.
He's
backing him
actually melting down Light, setting up the kill for Ardai, trying to teleport away,
Oh,
but it will not be enough.
up. Gets critted in the face by Ardai. Get out of my base, he says.
But
and,
Atlas,
yeah.
the second Baron buff did go to
Yeah,
IPT.
and that's huge.
That's huge, right?
But they do lose one of their bigger damage sources. Because looking at Ivalice's build here, it's not very high octane. It's a little bit more measured, more on the on-hit side of things. So if they lose Light here, they can't have fight as long. Because imagine what was happening behind the Baron pit. It was taking Ivalice so long to try and kill Lando. But when Light came in, BRE just got gobbled up.
Oh, the steal won't happen.
Won't happen.
And it'll be Hate to be the next one gobbled up. That would be a shutdown bounty to Ardai. Plus, they have the Elder Drake. But look at the members of Imperial Pro Team. They don't care. They go straight for the inhibitor.
This will apply a lot of pressure onto BRE's mid lane. And that means IPT has a lot more freedom to just rotate around the lanes that they want to pressure here. These are both juicy targets, top side and bot side, but right now, they might not want to engage onto them heavily just yet.
You know, what's scary about the engagement that you just talked about? If Imperial Pro Team are the ones to go in, it's going to be a nightmare because they have a lot of CC. They have the most, right now at this point, the powerful tool that can change the team fight. That Oriana's Shockwave.
Yeah.
Put it on that, put it on XXP, and just give that free CC lockdown. I mean, that's what they need, the damage there. Because XXP, he has that Ragnarok, but knowing Hate, he is the one trying to block that engage.
Really needs to, because no matter what CC you have, you can't stop XDXP unless you can make terrain. And Hate could potentially be able to do that. And he really needs to defend Light, especially Light. Because Ivalice is not enough. Like, if Light goes down, that means the rest of IPT won't have enough damage to face off against BRE. That means that Ardai can just free hit them from afar and take them down one by one. But if Light is up, and he has a lot of enablers around him, that means that BRE cannot get their guards down.
Okay, now this will be the second Baron. Going to Imperium Protein, they now have that really empowered Cannon minions.
Yeah.
Really nice to see it, but now for BRE, they have the Elder Drake buff. I hope it doesn't run out before they can start a fight. This will be BRE for their stand here. Note that in the mid lane, the inhibitor is down. So we are seeing 5 members on 5 members in the top lane side. This will be the inhibitor top lane turret. Would go down here, but thanks to the Canyon minions, my god!
It's taking it down so quickly.
Just wait for it. Look at that.
Oh,
just
man.
takes it down. They can't do anything.
That's just dirty. Not even Ardai can DPS it down safely.
Lando forced to use his ultimate here. That'll be the shockwave on the 2 members. Hate is kind of low, but now Light and Ivalice, they're at the back. They are protected, and you see Hate zoning them out. Looks like BRE could not break the front line of Imperium Pro Team. Now they run more to the back line. They now focus on 2 Ardai. He does pause to shove them away, but the Cataclysm is there for the lockdown. He will not get away anywhere. Now forced to just wait for his second death.
This is actually going to be the game. XXP and Jaime, I don't think they are enough to defend this. If IPT is attacking with full force, they're taking down the Nexus turret so quickly that Baron up, Banner of Command minion is still wailing at these waves.
My god.
It seems like IPT takes it away. The first game of this best of 5 series. They're still playing around with BRE, but they're constantly wailing onto that Nexus, taking the first win of this match.
This will be Imperium Pro Team winning the first game of our best of 5 series. What a game it was. I gotta say it was a long game, but all in favor in the fact that for this Rise scaling up to the late game, this is just, and we got to see firsthand. I think the viewers were asking me, why is the Band of Command? Why is the Band of Command one of the top picks, right? Top item picked by the Cyan or by the other top lane champions? You saw it right now here. How much damage it did towards the turret.
It's just absolutely wonderful how much it can do, and it feels dirty at times to use it. And because of the Banner of Command, because it's so potent, that actually forced BRE's hand that last fight. They could have gone and tried to delay the game a little bit longer, but against Banner of Command plus Baron buff, it's just way too much. It made them pull the trigger too early, and that cost them the game there, because they could have delayed the game for Ardai to really scale up to maximum potential, but it just got forced.
They couldn't do anything when you saw that empowered cannon minion just chunking down the turrets out of range, and you see the 5 members of Imperium Pro Team just protecting it.
If you don't have a minion dematerializer at that point in the game,
it's difficult.
It's very difficult, almost impossible to defend against this.
And now we'll be going to a short break here for the continuation of our match 2 of Imperium Pro Team versus BRE. Note that IPT, they won game 1, but will they continue this momentum moving on to game 2? We'll find out after the short break. My name is Vulcan, with me was Atlas. See you after the short commercial break. Here, 4 members of BRE going to the blue side of their territory. Now that's going to be Suzuko flashing in, eating up Shana, and now he's left alone. That would be a trade for They did not take down the war, so that'll be a free teleport coming in. Here comes the Shockwave, only on the 1 member, but Lana goes in deep inside that pit.
Oh, Light.
Light on the other side here, trying to deal so much damage, but can't do enough. Hate goes in, locks him down. They join in the fight, they join into the dive, but now that bottlenecks, that really bottlenecks Suzuko, but he doesn't care, because you saw Ivalice take so much damage.
That's just dirty. Not even Ardai can DPS it down safely.
Lando forced to use his ultimate here. That'll be a Shockwave on 2 members. Hate is kind of low, but now Light and Ivalice, they're at the back. They are protected, and you see Hate zoning them out. Looks like BRE could not break the front line of Imperial Pro Team. Now they run more to the back line. They now focus on 2 Ardai. He does pause to shove them away, but the Cataclysm is there for the lockdown. He will not get away anywhere. Now forced to just wait for his second kill.
This is actually going to be the game. XP and Jaime, I don't think they are enough to defend this. If IPT is attacking with full force, they're taking down the Nexus turret so quickly that Baron up, Banner of Command minion is still wailing at these waves.
My God,
It seems like IPT takes it away. First game of this best of 5 series. They're still playing around with BRE, but they're constantly wheeling onto that Nexus, taking the first win of this match.
this will be Imperial Pro Team winning the first game of our best of 5 series. What a game it was. I gotta say it was a